Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance
Pledge
To
allegiance
the flag
to the flag
States
of the United States of America and to the
and
republic
to the republic
for
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty and
justice for all.
justice for all.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Here.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelling.
Here.
Director Nyman's here. Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum for 401 absent. Okay, 2, discussion vote, adjust agenda if necessary.
Nothing, I know.
Yeah, I don't see anything. So if there's nothing, then we can go on to 3. Are there any public comments? Okay, hearing no public comments, we'll go on to unfinished business 4, discussion vote update, Fraser Park Lake of the Woods consolidation project. A, discussion vote update on test wells. So at this point, the test wells will
Do you want to
probably,
know the time?
oh, the time is 6:03 p.m. And so from my understanding, it should be the second week of July.
I have an update on that too.
Okay, go ahead. That's all I was going to say. So go ahead, Johnny. You
sorry.
want to?
It's just D just he talked to me yesterday and said that the driller and archaeologist, I believe from Tom Dotson, were going to meet. I believe it was Tuesday at the well sites, Monday or Tuesday, early next week anyway, to look at the properties and figure out exactly what they have to do. So at least we're seeing direct sign that the drillers are preparing to come here.
Right. So we'll either be starting the week of the 5th or the 12th, I assume. So that's basically what I understand. So I think there's nothing else on that. On B, so discussion vote on quote from Tom Dotson for the archaeologist. Okay, I did have. I'm a little confused, Dave, or Oscar. I had a question because there's 2 letters here. One said scope of work and cost proposal, and then there was a memorandum, and in the scope of work and proposal, it says that he has 2870 for the agreement. I guess this is his agreement. He says 2870, but in his memorandum, he is saying 2,400 per day. So I'm assuming he's going to do, but he assumes that both sites are going to be able to be done in one day. Now, do they do that, Dave? Before he does both those surveys before they ever do any kind of drilling or anything, right?
I'll ask Oscar to answer that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Carlos. I'm sorry.
I mean, Carlos.
Yeah, Oscar, go ahead and answer it.
I'll give you my best
well
guess.
5. I'm sorry.
The reason for the different prices is Dave kind of yelled at him, so he adjusted his price. No, he adjusted his price to 2,400 per day. We are assuming that he can get it done in one day. I asked him to get another estimate with the new number, and he said so it could be more simpler, that we could leave it as is with this memorandum. But
Well, we have to sign this contract, right? Because it's an agreement.
well, you guys just have to approve it. It's gonna be subcontracted through D.
Right.
Well,
But-
No,
I had a
Dave did say
question.
that we're gonna have to get some kind of
What, Carlos, you faded out.
explanation or documentation from.
I
Tom.
can't hear you.
Um,
You're super low, Carlos. I don't,
let Dave explain that more.
You're not on speaker, Carlos.
you
I think you're on mute, Dave.
Carlos. I think we just lost him. Oh, no, he's there.
The funding would come through self-help technical assistance,
Okay.
but
Okay,
it would be through D as part of the pre-planning. work.
okay, so we just go by the memorandum. We don't have to sign the first one. So the first
Yeah,
one's just telling us the scope of work.
Yeah, it's just it's the pre-construction, test well pre-construction funding. And
I'm
that's-
sorry. I
Yeah,
lost
that's,
audio,
that
so I didn't-
environmental document or work was required prior to the test well the site being chosen. So we're gonna drill here. The archaeologist looks around, decides whether there's any problem or not.
Okay.
I have a question before we move on. The
Well, we
second
have to take a vote anyway. So go ahead, Director Schoenberg.
the second paragraph under scope of work and cost proposal talks about the Fraser Park meter replacement project. I thought that we already had Tom Dodson do some work for the test for the planning project. It just wasn't enough that he was asked to come back out to actually be on site for when we actually, before we actually broke ground. But I'm confused. I don't know why it says meter replacement project. Is that true that we never did any work under the planning?
No, it's done.
Right.
I think
so
that was
why-
a typo.
Right. So
It's just that in the notice of exemption that was approved last fall, you folks had, Tom Dodson had a narrative attached to it. And in that narrative, it said, just as a precaution, an archaeologist will go out to the site with the driller and look at where they're planning to drill just to make sure that there's nothing there that they're going to impact.
right. So don't we need to ask them to change that?
Well, we're not signing this June
But-
11th thing.
But that's a good point, though, Lisa. Yeah. That's why we review it with you folks. So,
Right.
um,
So it should be changed to say not Fraser Park meter replacement project. It should be changed to say Lake of the Woods consolidation project, correct?
yeah,
Planning.
Okay. And then while he's doing that, since he gave us a memorandum, I mean, if we have to sign something, if we're supposed to sign something, Dave, then he could change also the cost to 2,400.
Yeah, it needs to be fixed. I think we need one or the other, not both.
Or he could put it, or maybe he could put in there, because we're approving 2,400, which he seems to think he can do it in one day. But I mean, I'm hoping that, so that's something that we need to make sure that gets coordinated. Because also I see in this memorandum that it says that we need to have both sites staked.
and Johnny, you said that someone was you had heard from D on that coordination with the driller?
Yeah, the driller and them are meeting on site, like I said, Monday or Tuesday with somebody from Tom Dodson's, I believe.
And they're gonna go
Anybody
to both, and they're gonna go to both sites, correct, Johnny?
Yeah, he said they were going to go to both sites, and if some kind of staking is involved or something, I'm not sure what all was done, but we had a surveyor up here from D Jaspers doing the generator project we got. So I would assume that if D needed something else done, he would have had him do it at the same time. But I didn't follow the guy around. So
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we get it staked for them so that we get it done all in one day, because we don't want them to take 2 days and then we end up having to pay double the price.
it's such a simple, small area, both of them, that I'm sure that the guy's going to say, okay, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I realize that, Johnny, but it's always,
All right. Well, all I could do is pass the word on to D. I will not be
Yeah.
here. I will be at the training you're sending me to.
right.
So-
No, that's fine if you would make a note to do that.
So who is actually doing the staking?
I don't know.
It would usually be the engineer.
Okay, so I'll just remind D.
Yeah, that both sites need to be staked so that it could, both sites have to be done in one day to prevent having double costs. So, so I would entertain a motion that we approve the archaeologist for the memorandum of June 21st, 2021.
And I just want to make sure that this is definitely covered under the TA funds.
Carlos?
Yes, that is the proposal, that he's gonna do the work through D, for D, and then charge self-help for that D would charge self-help for that work as part of our technical assistance funding. Or
Okay.
contract work.
So I would entertain a motion.
Well, so really, we're only just sort of, okay, I mean, it's under TA, it's not coming
Right,
out of.
but
So I'll move that we okay the scope of work and cost proposal for the cultural resources assessment of 2 test well sites for Fraser Park Public Utility District in Kern County, California, and to be covered by the TA funds from Self-Help Enterprises. And that's with the amended, we just ask that they amend the scope of work and or memorandum to read correctly.
I'll
So I hear-
second that.
Okay, Director Garcia seconded that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman's an aye. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, 4-0, 1 absent. Motion carried. Okay, see, update on contract with Johnson Drilling. I don't know where we stand on signing that contract. Did we sign that contract?
The Johnson Drilling contract has been signed and sent to all interested parties.
Okay, so we have a complete signed contract now.
With Johnson Drilling, yeah. Jerry Garcia was in the office on an ad hoc meeting. Dee brought it up, had him sign it. And then we got a copy in the office and 2 copies went with Dee to go to Johnson Drilling.
But have they signed their copy and sent it to us?
I believe they signed it first. Is that
Oh.
correct, Tiffany?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. that's all.
Has to be signed in order to enter.
Okay, D and E, district.
So weren't we still, I'm sorry, weren't we still waiting for something on that Johnson Drilling besides them mobilizing?
The only thing we were waiting on that contract was the approval from Lawrence, and he sent I believe he sent an email and approved that, and then we went forward and signed the contract.
And the archaeological. So, okay, so we're in good shape. We're just waiting for them to mobilize.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we're just waiting for them to mobilize. Uh,
Okay.
Okay, D, discussion vote on district sphere of influence for annexation, data collection and mapping. I don't know where we stand on this.
I don't think we can move forward on any of that. And we're waiting for the test wells
Right.
and we're waiting.
Same with E. And same with E. So on to F, vote on revised Lake of the Woods transfer MO agreement. I don't think we've worked on that at all.
Well, we have it in the packet, and I had mentioned that it was missing at the last time I looked at it, the information on contingencies. There is information in there. I think we can discuss it, but I don't think we can actually vote on it because I think there may need to be, or there's a possibility for additional changes that happen once we have an idea of the test wells. Like if the test wells don't work, then obviously that would change things. So I think, we could discuss what's there, but I don't think we should vote on it as a final product.
Right. Well, I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't think we're ready to do that, but I don't know I haven't had a chance to read this. So.
It definitely it does contain, it didn't really much in the past. It does now have some material within it that talks about the contingencies. It also talks about the project must be completed in order for the district to provide water. Patrick put something in there that we can answer in a minute. So it talks about the water can't be provided unless the project fully goes forward. It talks about contingencies in terms of funding. So it does cover a large portion of that. And it has the contingencies for LAFCO as far as funding being secured for and planning studies successfully completed, including preparation of plans and specifications, and the CEQA information, CEQA study successfully completed. So it has quite a bit of that. Applying for and securing grants from federal, state, county. That Lake of the Woods is responsible if we do not get the money and they determine that they wanted to move on, that they might be responsible or would be responsible for financial for the finances for that, which of course they're not going to be able to cover by themselves. So, but it does have that in there. And so, yeah, I think and then it has all the previous transfer of assets information and original obligation. So it's fairly complete at this point. I didn't go through it as well as I would have liked to because I just got it. As far as, any kind of weird typos or anything that needs to be fixed. But like I said, I think that we can kind of set this aside, that it's pretty good, that it does include some contingencies, and we probably just need to look at it. We probably need to keep it on the agenda and roll it over and just hold it there, table it until we have the test wells dug and we have a report on that.
Okay. That sounds good. Does any other directors or anybody else have any statements or comments?
No, I think she's covered it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. And it also give us all time to actually dig into it.
Yeah, I need to read it. I didn't get it, and I've been running all day. I didn't get a chance to read it, so I apologize for that.
Can we back up one, because we have a member, the press person that's here, who has asked about the previous line item. So I'd like to move that we back up.
To what, E?
Excuse me?
Where do you want to move it back to?
Back to the Johnson Drilling. What is that? That's
C?
C. So I
Okay.
move that we back up to items 4C to discuss that for the press.
I'll second that.
Okay, Director Kelly seconded. Roll call directors, Director Garcia.
Aye.
Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman's aye, Director Schoenberg's aye. Okay, we're back to Johnson Drilling. Okay,
So the questions, I'll just read them for Patrick. Was the TA Cultural Resources Assessment 2400 for both test well sites inclusive? And we discussed that, Patrick, right before you came on. Yes, it is inclusive. We hope that's our general understanding right now. They're going to try to do both test wells at sites at the same time for that price, and we just have to make sure that they're staked correctly by the engineer before they come out. And then the second question was, when will Johnson Drilling be coming? Is it possible that the Johnson Drilling Company trip up will be able to wrap in the well 5 drilling, seeking a sense of timeline and bid timeline when you can get to a reply? And that would be no, most likely not done at the same time, because none of that is we haven't even gone out to bid yet on the well 5, which is actually not well 5, but the project to remove well 5 and replace it with the new well.
well seven, yeah.
We don't yet have a timeline. They've pushed it a couple of times on us, but we also discussed that previously. It's most likely going to be the end of the first week of June or the second week of July, or the second week of July. So
July.
it's
For the test wells.
for the test wells. We had a meeting that happened, but I can't really discuss that on C4C because it's not part of that. So it would have to be, I guess, a public comment discussion. But but Johnson Drilling would have to be in the bidding process, and we have not gone out to bid yet for the new test.
And we'll be getting to the next update.
And Dave Warner,
Dave Warner, would you like to say?
I understand that the test wells will be consecutive. They'll start on one well site, finish it, and then move to the second well site.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and the plan is that we'll do in time water quality samples sent to the state so the state can approve, get them approved so they can just, when they demobilize from the one test site, they'll be able to mobilize at the second test site.
Thank you.
Patrick was asking if they could be put together, the drilling, but
Yeah, she was talking about the other well, the old well and the drilling of the new well, which of course is not happening consecutively. No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, understood on that. We do have a story in today's newspaper speaking about the nitrate discovery and the issues of well 5. And the question arose, can you guys hear me?
Yes. we hear
yeah,
you.
that comes up a little further on the agenda, Patrick. So as soon as we get to that, we can discuss, because we had a meeting about that today with the state.
Okay, I appreciate your consideration. You folks are terrific. I'm going to mute.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, G, discussion vote on changing the monthly claims. Didn't we already vote that we were gonna go to monthly change?
No,
claims?
we didn't, because we didn't need that
Oh.
yet, because we hadn't started the drilling yet. So we were
Right.
waiting to get a little closer to the drilling. I think we probably do need to vote on that, but I would recommend we vote on that on the first regular meeting, because again,
In July.
right, July is when we're gonna have to start paying those in a more timely manner.
Okay,
Good.
sounds good.
fine.
We'll move on to H, discussion vote on claim 8. That's you, Carlos, and other claims and payouts.
Okay, I don't know what the process is of this discussion. Do I just go through the claim or?
Yeah, normally what happens that, Carlos, just as an update, is we usually, when you put together the claim, you send the claim to us, for me and, for all the directors to, review, so that we can approve it.
Uh-huh.
And then to say if there's any errors or anything that needs to be changed, or,
Yeah, because
Right, so generally, Carlos, we have the entire claim packet in front of us. So we can go over that with you.
You did send it to me and it should be in your packet, Claymate. I just didn't, it's 122 pages, so I only included the
Oh,
summary.
okay, I see this here. Okay, I see. Okay, I'm sorry.
The format is a little different.
Yeah, no, no, it's fine. I didn't notice because I've been way behind today, so.
yeah, because I was gonna say I did send it to Tiffany, but
Okay,
maybe I sent it too late. I don't know.
okay,
When are you planning on submitting this, Carlos?
Whenever you guys approve it. Or if I don't need to make any corrections.
okay, the one thing that okay. Okay, I'm looking at the summary of costs, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't think this was the final because we usually get it a different way, so I didn't look at it as carefully as I should have. So we didn't include, I thought that there was a invoice for engineering from D Jasper.
There is, you look on Claymate summary of costs, there's three invoices from, D Jasper. There's one from January for $297. There's one from, for $420, $693, and then there's one for $1,683 for May, for a total of $2,673. And then it has both license agreements in there, the payments for those to reimburse us for that.
I don't know, mine's cut off, so it's not the.
You got to go to where it has summary of costs.
To
Keep
the,
going. Keep
all
going.
the way to the back, the last page in that
Yeah.
packet.
Because that summary, the way she should have, that part should have been landscape, because you can't read. It doesn't give you the totals. You got to look at, there's a claim.
I'm on there.
Okay.
Okay, I'm confused about 3/8/2021. It says 2 board members at 33, a director for a total of $32.
Yeah,
For ad hoc meetings, I was told that the charge is 33.33.
right, but
Right.
if there was two members, it should be 66.
No, because it showed on the thing, it was $16 a piece.
Okay.
So that's
Oh,
why it's
that's
32.
okay. Yeah, that's right. I
It
think
was that MXR meeting.
Yeah,
Oh, the
yeah,
only half an hour. Okay.
yeah. That's correct. That was March. Oh, March. Boy, that was way a long time ago. Okay. So yeah, it looks correct to me.
Yeah, there's gonna be a few corrections that I'm gonna have to make since this is my first one doing it Dave style. So um on the allowance soft cost summary sheet, I don't know if you guys got that one. um it's not something major, it's just where the license agreements were at. Our input, I need to put DFA loan, please indicate split. That I just gotta put 0% and 100% on that category. And
Yeah, I don't see that. Well, yeah,
Some of those were cut off and
that was cut off on that particular sheet for us. So
yeah, and then for legal, I'll have to do the same, put 0 and 100%.
okay, yeah.
So that's it on that. And I don't know if there's any other errors because it's a huge document, but I think it should be good. At least the amounts are good.
Looking at the summary itself, look, as long as the additions are correct, it looks good to me.
I had a question,
Sure.
and I apologize, Carlos. On D Jasper invoice for January, there's the MSR and LAFCO and Stanley Hoffman conversations the engineer had. And I don't know if they, and I guess, was it already earlier addressed that they would be an admin? Or I think they might be more qualified to be in a future payment for consolidation engineering.
Yeah, it was discussed that they were going to put in an admin, but we could go either way depending on what the board wants.
Yeah, I thought we did talk about that, or on the meeting or on the ad hoc. But I remember talking about that being, I thought that there was something on there that was a TA too. So I don't have the invoice.
It was. It's highlighted in blue.
But that was paid in the previous, in claim 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then in another invoice, we removed an amount that needs to be paid through TA, or at least I removed an amount that was going to be paid through TA.
Okay.
And let me see if I can get to that invoice real quick.
And we don't have the invoices, correct?
Yeah, well, Tiffany does, but we don't have it in our packet, so we can't look at the invoices itself.
Yeah,
I mean,
so in the invoice for January, I crossed out because D didn't send me updated invoices like he said, so I just crossed them out. On the invoice, I crossed out 198 that was paid on claim 8, so that's why it brought that invoice to 297.
You mean on claim 7?
Yeah, on claim 7. And then the next invoice that was for 693, that one is all paid from planning in claim 8. And then the the third invoice from May, that one, we said that the well license agreement should be paid out of TA, so I took that off of that invoice, and that reduced that invoice from 2,079 to 1,683. So the 396 will be paid out of TA funds.
TA funds. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So did we note on those invoices, Tiffany or someone, because I don't have them in front of me, what stuff was C, what stuff was A, and I mean, there was no C, but what was A and what was B?
I crossed out on the invoices I sent Tiffany, that it's crossed out in red, and it says this will be paid out of TA funds. And then so I subtracted 2 hours from that invoice.
Right.
And
So Tiffany, you have that information for your spreadsheet, correct?
I do.
Okay, yeah, I was just worried about us tracking it. So somewhere on there, it's obvious that it's like a B or an A or a whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, I would entertain a motion that we approve claim 8.
I'll move that we approve claim 8.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. You should say the amount, Director Garcia. Which
I
is
don't have them.
total
I don't
claim
have
and charges of 15,128.08.
And normally we also say what each thing is for. Say, 1,865.32 for Young Woolbridge, and we usually give the invoice 77687 for 354, etc. I can go on, but I don't have the invoice numbers for.
well,
guess-
you can do it from the summary of cost
Yeah,
sheet that has all the invoice numbers.
So can I make that friendly amendment?
Absolutely, I accept that friendly
Okay,
amendment.
so I did 2 of them, so I'm gonna do the third one, which is planning staff cost recovery, staff administration, project management charges, 2,455.08. 3 invoices for D Jasper and Associates dated 1/21/2021, which is invoice 210104.6B for 297, 4/20/21, 2104.012B for 693, and 5/31/21, 2105.011B, which is for 1,683, which comes to a total of 2,673. And then 2 license agreements for a total of 5,000 each, which comes to $10,000. So that
Total
total
claim.
of everything is what was mentioned, which is the 15,128.08.
Okay, so Director Kelly has seconded that motion.
I accept those friendly amendments.
Okay, you accept those friendly amendments. Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent, Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried, 401 absent. Okay, so moving on to number 5, discussion vote update on Fraser Park Public Utility District meter replacement project and emergency replacement well and water supply project. A discussion vote on project agreement.
Do we need to do a time before that for the planning?
I guess we should, it's 6:41. So, update on the funding agreement. Basically, we were told that the agreement has been approved, and they're working on the funding agreement. So we would, okay, excuse me, let me start over. So the funding agreement has been approved, and we can go forward with going out to bid, and the cost would be covered up to 10% of the project, which is a total of $390,000. Is that not correct, Director Schoenberg?
Yeah, approximately like 397, yeah.
So before, and basically what I'm talking about is, so if we start the project prior and get into construction prior to us signing the funding agreement, they will recover or reimburse costs that we put out from this point up to 10% of the project before the funding agreement is signed. And so the funding agreement can take several months before it can be completed. But in light of the fact that we need to get things moving, Fraser Park will have to come out of our long-term, what is the fund, Director Schoenberg? My brain just went dead.
Yeah, it's called our Capital Improvement Reserve for the paper. So we have about 500,000 in there after all the payments for Wolf, which we've had as an emergency project. It'll completely deplete that reserve, which back when our RCAC did our rate study, they were suggesting that we have $1 million in there, but it's for things such as this when we have an emergency. So we would deplete that fund, but we would be able to be reimbursed, if, up to 397,000 on it. And then later, once the funding agreement is in place, we would negotiate to be reimbursed for the rest. But up until the point where, so we would need to, be aware of what we were spending, but we could be reimbursed for up to 10% before we have all of the funding agreement nailed down, so to speak.
I had a question. We don't have on here anything about to update to be able to talk about the well 5. We already approved that. We already approved that lowering of the bulls with farm. We did,
but we also have it might be on the next agenda for the immediately following, but I'm not sure.
It's on the immediately, I believe, following agenda for the.
But you did approve it already.
Oh, that's correct. So. Okay, never mind. Sorry, I just like I said, I've been running all day and I didn't get my stuff until late today, so I haven't had a chance to review everything. So
again, just for Patrick, that comes up under immediately following this agenda. We go into a special meeting, which has all of the well 5 information on it.
Okay, so the discussion vote on plans and specifications for well 7. Johnny, do you have an update on that from D as far as, I know that he was close to completing those?
He didn't necessarily tell me about the plans and the specs, but we did go over the plans very well, and it looked all good to me. There was a couple little things that I pointed out that were not worth mentioning, and he said that he did say the plans and specs were ready, but he hadn't had a chance him personally to go over them. So I think Curtis had done them.
I think the specs are not finalized from what he said earlier in our meeting with the state. The plans
they're not yet. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that the plans are and the specifications, they're just finalizing now so that we can go out to bid.
Okay, so moving on to C, it says vote on going out to bid for well 7. So are we going to we're going to have to get that out soon.
I think we should approve that in principle, based on us, just having a final look at the plans and specs. So, but I think that we can make a decision on that tonight, and that way, that we'll go forward once we review the final plans and specs, and that way, as soon as we are able to look at that, we don't need to have another meeting that D can go out to bid.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion that we approve going out to bid based on what you said.
Yeah, I'll make that motion. I move that we go out to bid for well number 7.
Well, based on us being able to, I'm gonna.
Guaranteed that we'll be reimbursed up to 10% of the project.
No, what I'm saying is that we still need to just once over the plans and specs when they're completely done. So we could approve in principle or approve in, basically approve that we go out to bid, with the caveat that we have a final look at the plans and specs before next week.
Last look for approval.
Is that the entire
That's
board,
fine.
or you're talking about the ad hoc?
I mean, basically, we've already looked at these plans and specs when they went for when it was originally for USDA. And
We have.
and so we reviewed all that stuff before, Director Schoenberg. Now he's changed it to be for the new project with the state.
Right, but we haven't looked at that at all.
I agree with you on that, but he's put it in the format that the state wants it to be in. So, yeah.
We
So
get last look.
Okay.
So can you restate that, that motion, Director Garcia, because we've had a lot of discussion and I'm not clear on it.
Okay, so I'm for C, I'm moved that we go out to bid for well number 7 based on, I guess, last look of the final product of plans before they go.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Director Kelly has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
But I just realized like that probably needs to go to Lawrence as well one last time before the specs, because Lawrence never got the specs. So if you accept that friendly amendment, mine's an aye.
Yeah, that's fine. I wouldn't realize that he never got a copy.
Okay, do you accept that friendly amendment, Director Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried, 401 absent. Johnny, could we follow up with D and just find out where we're at and has the state gotten copies of plans and specs? Because I thought he was supposed to have sent copies to Lawrence already.
They got the plan. They have not finished the specs completely, to my understanding, as of today.
Okay.
Rama, could we get a copy of the plans and specs as well, Dave and myself, so that we can review them?
Yes, definitely, most definitely. So that's something we're going to need to get right away. So
Basically, I think the ad hoc and all involved with the ad hoc need to review those. And as long as everyone's good with it, we don't have to go back in front of the board because of this motion. We'll be able to just okay D going out to bid.
right, but that's something that we're going to have to do right away. I mean, it's
ASAP.
ASAP.
So the ad hoc on that is Lisa and Brahma, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sending an email right now, including you guys.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And she too,
Great.
please.
yes.
And yes, not she, but Self-Help Enterprises.
So that's going to be Dave and who's my
Oscar and Carlo. Oscar? That's
Yes.
Oscar.
This one's Oscar, but we should probably put Carlos in the loop as well.
okay?
Sorry. Okay. So discussion of claims and payouts. I don't believe that there's anything at this point. I don't know of any invoices or anything that we need to do on this. So 6, discussion vote emergency repairs to Wolf Booster and tank site. So the last thing we have left to do, Johnny, is that just the building?
A building and some wiring and air conditioning and heating. Yeah.
Okay. And so where do we know when we're going to start on that?
I have not had a chance to update that because we've been dealing with all the rest of this stuff. I will check though.
Okay, no problem.
In your spare time. And we have 3 invoices for that this evening. Is that correct? That will be on the financials?
Yes, we have, no, 2 invoices, basically. There's 3 invoices that we're paying D. Jasper and Associates. There's 2, but there's 2 invoices for Wolf Tank. One for $308 for contractor communication, and then invoice May 31st, 2021, invoice number 210512 in the amount of $2,202, and that has to do with inspection of Wolf Tank. So anyhow, so that's an update there, and we'll be discussing that when we get the financials. Okay, on to 7. Discuss vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency allocation to the Special Districts Grant. A, vote on professional engineering cost proposal.
They were supposed to get me an updated copy, but I don't think Dee was able to get it from Curtis in time.
So I'd like to move that we carry that over to the next meeting, which will be the regular meeting in July, the first regular meeting in July.
Do I
I'll
hear a
second that.
Director Garcia second it. Roll call of director. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
401 absent. Motion carried. So we'll have to do that in the next regular meeting. Okay, 8, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion review of pre-construction engineering budget, scope of work. That's,
Dee's not here this evening. I really think we need Dee for this.
yeah, I agree too. This is, I mean,
So I'm not really comfortable moving forward on, I mean, I read it. I'm in agreement with it for the most part. I know that we need to pass this on to both Lawrence and, any other entities that we talked, what we did do is we talked to the supervisor of our area so that we could just put it out there that we're looking for money for that and some other items. But I think that I would like to move that we again table this item until the next meeting, our regular meeting, which hopefully Dee will be able to attend, first meeting in July.
I'll second that.
okay, Director Garcia has seconded that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Motion carried 4-0-1 absent. Okay, on to number 9. Discussion vote on district application for American Rescue Plan CARES Act funds. Isn't that also the same thing? Distribution system, water line location, mapping, design, and construction, well construction, meter, storage tank. Didn't that have to do with sending that letter that Johnny sent a letter to our supervisor?
Yes,
Okay, and that would include what we just tabled,
Correct.
that would include that and more.
that and more. So, so we should table that until the next meeting.
If the letter went out to the supervisor?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
But I
You just-
have not heard nothing back.
Okay, and you may want to have people just follow up with calls about your letter.
Follow up with who? Carlos?
Well, I mean, you folks would call the county supervisor's office about your letter.
Could you tell us what's in the letter?
It was mentioning that the new money that the Kern County got, we were hoping that he could help us with attaining some of that funds for pipeline replacement, tank replacement, and engineering for those.
And a lot of the pre-construction work for potholing for pipelines in our district.
Thank you. And there was another, what was it, Dave? Is it $5 billion that they put out today for water from the government?
That's another, yeah, that's like another phase of infrastructure money. And this one that we were just talking about was COVID relief money that had infrastructure funds in it. And the state got a chunk of that money, as well as each county of this state got many millions of dollars, including Kern County. And they're drawing up a list of projects that they're going to fund. So I understood the district was putting in for some a wish list for, hey, we could certainly use those funds. That's my understanding. Am I correct?
Yes.
District? Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. 10, review and approve state update meeting minutes from 6/17.
I didn't get all the way through them, so I'm not sure if someone else did. But it would really be you or me, Burma, since we were there. And I mean, other people could look for typos. But I didn't finish. I didn't finish it. I guess I'd like to move. Let's see, we talk about it again. Yeah, I'd like to move that we approve those at the next meeting, which is the first meeting in July, which gives us a week before we need for the state update meeting again.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Director Kelly has seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Brahma. Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
4-0-1, 1 absent. My goodness, excuse me. All right, I think we're gonna skip the recess. Go on to financial business, discussion vote on accounts payable information. Okay, that would be you, Linda.
Yes, hello, everyone. Okay, so we just ran some checks for this 2 weeks, and the check amount that it came to was $4,668.22. Those are all bills that we paid to current. That's all I have right now. Unfortunately, I got locked out of the bank. So Lisa, you and I have to have another fun day. But that's all I have.
Okay.
Just for this short period.
All right, so we did have Linda who was taking a look at the D Jasper and Associates.
Yeah.
There were the 2 invoices for Wolf Tank. You've put those under professional services, and they're not professional services.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just need to keep all of the Wolf Tank money because it's all being taken from the capital improvement reserve, and it's being treated as one large project that then is being broken into the specific parts of that project. So we need to keep it all together.
Okay, well, here's what I'm confused of. It's, let's see. And this is why it happens all the time. Because D Jasper and Associates is professional services. The job that he's working on is the Wolf Tank project. And so that professional services is going to the classification of Wolf Tank project. You see in the memo there, I put that in the memo, but to see I didn't print out a class, and the class would show this as an expense under professional services from DPAC, D Jasper, and it would be on its own financial statement of Wolf Tank. So it's actually classified properly, but I know that, and you know, since it's June, this is the last month of the fiscal year, we can put it where you've always been putting it for 2000 and the fiscal year ending 2021, but starting the fiscal year 2022, I would like to do it the right way and put it under professional services as he is, and then classify it to Wolf Tank. And so then, therefore, every month we will expense these expenses to the Wolf Tank project where it's supposed to be.
Okay,
Just a thought.
I believe that will work, but I haven't seen how that's broken out yet. So the problem is that the Wolf Tank also gets expensed under assets because it's a asset. So I'm just I'm
That's
a little
okay. That'll work
confused.
too.
Well,
that will work. That will work. We can do that too. So whenever there are any expenses for Wolf Tank, even if it's under an asset, it will be classified to the asset, classified to the, dump bin, classified to office, classified to let's see, whatever it should be classified to.
Okay, because that's where we're really messed up. Not you, it has nothing to do with you, but that's where, we have this big mess on the book asset detail, because previously things were just lumped together and not classified under what the amount really belonged to. So it would just be like, $1 million, and we have, no broken down amounts, so that when we're trying to replace something, it's impossible to know, what we spent on it, any of that. So yeah, I just want to make sure that Wolf gets lumped together and that it gets expensed out because it's an asset, and that and if we can further classify it in some way that I haven't seen yet, that would be great. I just want to make sure that it's getting in the right spot.
Right. Well, it is, but if I could make a suggestion and you think about this, I would prefer to put this to where it's normally put, and you'll have to tell me where that is because it doesn't make sense to me. So that's why I never get it right. Tell me where you put it, and I'll put this to that category. We'll leave it there. And then what we'll do is we'll take a look at all of 2021 and sit down and make the adjustments to put them in a Wolf Tank classification of its own.
Yeah, we were just lumping the entire amount to the asset of Wolf Tank. So everything was being classified under the asset.
Well, that's not bad, because then we can go there and reclassify. Do you know what I mean? So we can just go to that one account and fix it.
Right,
So
because
that's-
I don't know how else to do it because I want to make sure that all that money, because even though D is a professional service, he's broken, we have him doing so many different areas right now that, it won't make sense unless we tie it to what it actually was, because all the projects are tied together in that way. So when we get a loan grant for, however much money, it's tied to the loan grant asset, which needs to be broken down more clearly, but it's tied to just one sum that's in one place, and then we just need to figure out at a point how to break that all down.
Okay, so why
Right,
is
I
the
agree.
why is the grant on the asset on the balance sheet under assets, that the Wolf Tank grant?
Well, it's not a grant.
There is no grant. There is no grant for Wolf Tank. There's
Okay.
grants. There's a grant, for instance, for the well that we're going to be getting. So that grant, hopefully not a grant loan, that grant that we get, it's the way that not the bookkeeper, because I think it's really none of our bookkeepers have been responsible for this. It's been how our auditors do it. And our auditors have just been putting it as a lump sum, and it's going into the asset category. But the problem is that when it's a lump sum like that, sometimes like we went back, Director Nyman and myself have been trying to do the next line item.
The first one they played on, they were only able to place cobblestone blocks.
Can you mute yourself, please? Thank you.
Okay, so what's been happening is that it's been this lump sum, but that lump sum is a problem because it doesn't break anything out as far as like whether it paid for a tank, whether it paid. So, but what's been happening is the auditors have been classifying all that stuff under assets, and what's happened, which we have to be really careful of, is like we have to go back and look at our like last USDA grant loan, because there are multiple entries for the same stuff, and because they just put it as a one big lump, we weren't able to catch it, but we caught it doing it in a different way. And so what's happened is we don't have all the assets that we're claiming that we have, because it's been counted 3 times. So that is not working at all.
Yeah.
But right now that's how they've been doing it. So I think we should continue just to the end of this year doing it that way, and then we need to have a long conversation with our auditors on what
I agree. We can cross that bridge when we come to it. But moving forward, all grants that come in will be going to the profit and loss statement. Okay, under non-operating income. And then all of the expenses that go to those projects that those grants and the projects that we get, we are going to expense them to the expense account that they're supposed to go to, whether it be repair and maintenance or a labor or this or that. We will classify it to those classifications, and it will be going to their own name classification as, such and such grant. So they will have their own financial statements. So say we have 3 new grants that come up for next year. So we'll have 3 classifications, and with those 3 classifications, they will have all of the chart of accounts, expense, income and expenses underneath them. And they will say, for instance, D does the work on number one grant. And so D did professional service. It will go to professional services on the.
I think we're not going to be able to do it that way, but we can talk at a later point.
Okay, we can talk later on this. I would entertain a motion that we pay our bills.
Okay.
Well, did we go over all the other issues that we have?
Well, we're going to go over the bank card in a second, but that's already been paid and that was already approved. So I'd like to finish paying our bills and then we
Oh,
can
the bank
discuss.
card that you talked to me about was not on this set of payments. That was the bank card payment.
That
from
was
the-
what we approved the other day.
that we never had a statement for.
But we didn't have, we had problems with the statement, so we could discuss
Okay.
that after we pay our bills.
Okay, and I thought there was one other issue on this which had to do with, well, that's on the bank card with the post office. I thought there was something else that wasn't in the right category on the, I don't have the check detail in front of me, so check detail.
Hold on, I'll double check. I think that was the only one. Everything else was in the right, that was the only one.
Okay, so it's all stuff from the bank card. So,
Yes.
okay, so I'd like to move that we pay our bills.
I'll second that.
Okay, Director Garcia, second that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
401, one absent, motion carried. Okay.
Can I just ask one more question before we move on from that to the bank card?
Yes.
The 3 invoices for D. Jasper and Associates. So there were 2 for Wolf Tank. What was the 3rd invoice?
That
General
one,
professional services.
hold on a second. I'll tell you what it is, the actual invoice. I have it in front of me. So it was a general invoice. It was for that was discussed for the special board meeting and also conference with Joe Prevender and document review. So that, I think that didn't that have to do with, oh, that was that battery proposal. Hello?
Yeah. So yeah, it's just that would be a general professional services because we never even went forward with it. It was just him
Right.
providing services on the battery review. Yeah. So that one would be classified under professional services for sure and not attached to a particular project.
Right. So okay. All right. So here's the thing. We approved, we had a problem with getting the statement because the statement came late. We knew we did not have the statement wasn't showing on our online account. And from what the bank had told me was that because we were getting paper statements that they don't provide online statements to us. So we're going to have to go make the change back to online statements so that in case like happened because we always do our credit card statements on the 2nd Thursday of the month. And this month it was on the 8th of June, and the close date, our close date is the 5th of June. So since we didn't have the statement, we would be late and get a late charge on the 24th. So we had approved the amount which was $1,410.99. And so anyhow, so what we're going to have to do is change the bank back to online statements. And so every month we're going to have to, Linda, we're going to have to go on the bank and print that out and then reconcile that, attaching all the receipts and also for you to classify each thing. So Johnny is going to check with the credit card to see if he can change the date, closing date for our credit card statement and see if he can get it moved back to the 30th of the month. So
Great.
So he's going to make that effort. But if that doesn't happen, but right now we're still at the 5th, the closing date is the 5th. So I'm going to have to go on the bank and make that change back to an online statement. And so next month, we'll, you know, we should have an online statement at the 5th, and we'll have to print that out and then reconcile. So
Sounds good.
So
And then, can I just say, I know, Johnny, you're insanely busy, but I think we also need just somehow monthly that, or well, I guess sometimes we're paying it more than monthly, but that you try to classify stuff, because I think it's too confusing. I know, you know, when I'm only able to look at the statement and not the receipt, I can't really tell where it goes. And so I think Linda's not going to be able to put it in the correct spots unless you've actually said on each purchase what it, you know, what it is and where it goes.
I believe I've been doing that. I believe on every Amazon,
right. Well,
everything I've been classifying.
Okay, I just was going to say that, you know, some of them you did write on there that it was like goes to office, and but there are some of the receipts that you didn't write anything on.
Like what? So I know, because if it's self-explanatory, like fuel, like gas.
Yeah.
Right. The rest of them, anytime I purchase something online, I'm trying to put it in the PO section, and then I'll circle it, so it's either there or I write it right on the receipt. So I don't know of any that I've missed.
Right. Well, okay. The supply house, which I'm assuming that was
that's distribution pipes. It was pipe nipples.
Okay.
And I think
I'm
that was in the.
I'm not sure she would know that, you know.
No, I mean, I thought I put that in the PO.
Yeah. It's.
Well, what was that on, Brahma? What was that on?
Okay, so
I
that
remember
was,
reading that.
Okay, so this is on our credit card statement, and this is what didn't show on our stuff. You have to break out on the credit card statement the different line items that Johnny has on the credit card statement. It has to go to specific areas, whether it's office or distribution, and
right.
You know, so typically he's going to be writing like on Amazon orders where he's ordered stuff for the office. It's written as office, you know, or it's, you know, so everything has to make sure that when you break that down, the 1,400 has to be specifically broken out to the different areas. And so the other thing about,
you know, I see what you're saying. I
Right.
I don't know why it's not being broken out there. They're all broken out.
okay, so
I have them all broken out.
okay, so
yeah.
what I did, and so I don't see that, so I can't say whether you're putting them in the right place. There's also one other issue, which whether there's this time, I know that we had some issues, but I know that there were several things for Dollar General where I know we've bought in water, probably water for the crew because of the heat providing water. And
absolutely, there's water in that
right.
too.
But
yeah.
the thing is that I don't have those receipts with this credit card that's attached to this. So when and so I have to be able to look at that and to be able to verify what that is.
Okay, so
I didn't have those receipts attached. Also, the other receipt I don't have on here, there was a charge for $440. I think Johnny, you can tell me what that one is. It's for the
when you brought that up, when you brought that up, I pulled it right out of the basket and showed you while you're in the office.
Right.
It was for stamps.
It was for stamps. Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember what you had told me on that, but so that those receipts are not attached to this, and so Linda, we need to make sure, because I check every receipt to everything that's on this on this.
Which month are you looking at?
I'm looking at this is the one for June.
So can I ask a couple questions real quick? So Johnny, that one was for stamps because we didn't have enough money in the post office.
No, that was buying stamps for the office.
Rolls of stamps.
Rolls of stamps.
Oh. And then, because I also had a question about the gas, some of them are just, I don't ever have this stuff in front of me, so it's confusing to me. But like I was confused about, so there was like one for gas, but usually we put gas on a different card. So the
Well, yeah,
gas,
but sometimes the gas card don't work at the pump or whatever it may be, and then I have to use my credit card, or sometimes the
Right.
guys.
So is that what that $150.53 is? At Dawn's Quick
Yeah,
Serve?
it would, yeah,
Yes,
fuel.
yes.
That was fuel. Okay, yeah, but that was my.
Just as an update, I'm on the website right now for my credit card for work, and I'm
Right.
changing it to receive electronic statements only.
Okay, thank you.
But it looks like the email address has been changed to Linda Sheldon. So I need
Huh?
to change those. Yep.
Yeah, I would change those, yes.
So I should put it Lisa and me, right?
Or send it to FPPUD1.
yeah,
Okay, FPP.
So anyways, that's why. So that was my point. My point was, Linda, that I didn't have any of these receipts to look at. So for us to verify what's being spent, I need to know. And so
Yeah.
so that's just in general. I need to
Brahma,
make.
how many of the receipts are you missing? Because I remember
I'm
attaching.
I'm missing the post office ones, any ones for Dollar General or for quick serve. I don't have any of those receipts. And I also am missing, I don't have the one Johnny was for Brian and Tony Road Service, Castaic.
I have no idea. Oh, Brian, that's the tire guy down in Gorman that fixes our tires now.
Oh,
that's the
he's in
$66.
Gorham.
Yeah. I put that invoice, that statement in the office, so it's in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have that. I have it. I
Okay,
have it.
but-
The other thing is Brahma, I think when you I didn't have all the receipts when it was time to give you that report. Okay, I have a ton of receipts in the office right now.
Right.
So
So that's the thing is we need to, right.
Like for
and-
instance, I have April here. And
Right.
I have all the receipts attached to April, but by the time you got the statement, it wasn't all attached.
Okay, but
You know what
that's
I'm saying?
the point is like when I get this statement to review things, I have to have all the receipts attached to it because that's the only way that I can do my oversight to make sure that we're spending things correctly and that we're not, I'm not accusing anything, but that's part of my job is to oversight on what we're spending and to make
Oh,
sure
absolutely.
and to make
Yeah.
sure that we're correct on things. So
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to look at that. And so
Okay, well, let me make this suggestion. So that you can see the statement when it comes out.
Not sure what time. I don't know.
I'll send it to you with it paid. And let's see, with it paid. And then when I have all the receipts, I'll send you the statement with all the receipts attached to it.
But basically, Linda, when you cut the check for this, you should have all the receipts attached to that. If you're missing receipts, you should question Johnny as to where these receipts are if you don't have them in your box.
Well, I don't think it's generally just timing. Do you know what I mean? Just timing.
Right, but we're not able to go back because like we're doing everything meeting by meeting. What happens if we don't have it? We're just like this one is going backwards to the last meeting, and that gets very confusing also.
You tell me, I know.
Right. And I know we had problems with this statement and what happened this one time, but I'm just saying in general. So like when I get the statement next month, it should have attached all the statements, all the Amazon orders, anything that's ordered for the office. I mean, because Johnny's going to write on there where they should be classified, and any receipts if he bought water for the crew or whatever, those receipts have to be on there so we can review them.
Right, I understand. Okay, I'll work on getting that done.
I appreciate that.
So that it'll be on time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
and thank you for working with changing the date on the banks, on the credit card statement. I
Yeah,
think
we're gonna work on that. It hasn't happened
Yeah.
yet, but hopefully, and.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
so since Johnny's made that change, Tiffany, can you go on your credit card and change that back to online statements?
Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so 12, discussion vote on book asset detail.
So Director Nyman and I both had done just one ad hoc. Dave Warner was kind enough to send me some information that he had hanging out with different amounts. A lot of that, unfortunately, we already had for the USDA Project 2, where we did break out some of USDA Project 2 in the book asset detail. We're not able yet to break out anything from the number 1 project because didn't have the payout, the claims and payouts that we could go from to see what we paid for each item. We did discover, like I said, that there are assets that have been claimed multiple times in different ways, and that's not a good thing. And so we need to we're going to need to look at all that, try to figure that out, and then try to see, why it got claimed multiple times and try to fix that with the auditor. And then we, so what we've done is, and this will be a good thing eventually, but it's still a work in progress, is we are adding, so we're breaking all the assets down into what they really are and where they really are. So we never had that before. It was just like tanks or, so the way it works now, or the way we're hoping it works, and I talked to the auditors about this, and I'm having to color code everything because we're not allowed to move anything or delete anything until they can look at it and see where it came from and where it's going. So it's a really time consuming process. But I've been trying to color code things that are new, color code it if it needs to be removed, blah, blah, blah. And then what's happening is we've broken it down. So each site, it'll say something like Wolf Tank, and then it'll say boosters, and it'll say tank, and so it'll have the purchase price of all of the things in the past that we bought for that particular asset. And and what we currently are doing, and then when we need to replace that, and where the money came from, and then when we go to replace that asset, it's not just listed as $1 million grant loan. And I've also added, and I'm in the process, I'm not quite done yet, adding every single trail in this town. And so those will all be broken out so that when eventually we get money for the pipeline project, everything we do and everything Director Nyman and I find that's associated with a particular trail that's been named correctly, which 9/10 of it is not. If it's been named correctly and it shows an amount that we put pipe in the ground for, it shows like how much pipe in the ground and the amount, so that we can start to track that. Because right now it says pipe in the ground, which means nothing because we have no idea if it's still there, if it's been replaced, whatever. So we're working on that. It's like I said, a big work in progress. I don't think it's going to be done in a timely manner for the RCAC rate study, but we can. Johnny had talked to David from RCAC that's doing our rate study information that needed all the book asset detail for that. And he said that we can still extend. So even though I thought that it was needed to be done at the end of this month, it looks like it can still be extended all the way to October when the actual Prop 218 would need to happen. And so I don't know what that process is, but we need to talk to him about that. I still don't think it'll be done at that point, but it'll hopefully be better than the last rate study asset list.
But we'll have made some good improvements.
Yeah, we'll have made some progress on it. So
okay.
So that's where we're at.
Perfect.
Good job. Big job.
New business. 13, discussion vote on changing or continuing modified service procedures as adopted as March 19th. I think that
I have a question on that.
Go ahead.
because we're now officially open as the state of California, but we're not yet like required to meet in person. I know that's what, like in September or something. I'm just wondering, all of the provisions that they made for COVID, have those gone away? Like the late fees and stuff, or is that still?
Yeah, Tiffany, you want to answer that?
Yeah, no, the late fees was a board decision. It had nothing to do with state regulations. So you can reenact those whenever you feel ready.
I think we
But
should
the
reenact.
in-person meeting, or yeah, the executive order for in-person meetings and the executive order for the moratorium of shutoffs both end September 30th. So come October, the district will be allowed to do the shutoffs, and come first meeting in October, we will have to be in person.
Okay, so then, I was gonna say something about the late fees, but I almost would like it to coincide with whenever the state, feels that we should be able to do shut-offs again. So I was going to make a motion for the late fees, but I think I would like to continue as we are until that date when everything goes back to so-called normal.
Yeah. So I think I don't know how the other directors feel. I agree with Director Schoenberg that come October 1st we should start shutting off or sending out the notices that we're going to shut off people who are past due and who have been past due, because there's several people that have not paid in a while, and we've had delinquent accounts, and so just putting that out there also to the public, so that if someone is past due, they need to get themselves back up to date or come in and make a payment plan so that they can get back in good standing.
And I think just to allow people to catch up, since we're open and there are jobs available now, but we should still give them a little bit of time to catch up, since not everyone's been able to integrate back into a job yet. So I'm putting out there that I'm for leaving everything as is until that September date.
And
I agree. Do we need to make a motion?
Carlos.
Yes, Carlos.
There's also some funds that are coming that are called arrearages or something like that, and basically I'm not exactly 100% sure how this works. Dave would know more than I would, but I know there's supposed to be some funds out there that's supposed to help pay for everybody that is backed up on.
Didn't we already did that one time? Is there more funds out there, Dave?
And
Yeah,
this is something through the state, right, Carlos?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a state program, which you'd need more details on the specifics.
Yeah, we don't have all the details yet, but there's supposed to be funds out there that's supposed to help pay off everybody's back charges to get them down to zero.
Beautiful.
So there might not be a need for shutoffs if this goes through. So.
Well, I know before it was a maximum of $500, wasn't it?
No, this is a bigger budget that's supposed to help everybody that's behind on their bills due to COVID and stuff like that.
And something else to think about is a lot of the people that were really behind, we voted at the last meeting to turn it to Kern County for the tax collections. So a lot of those are already gone.
Right, but whatever is there, then so can you just Carlos keep
once we get more info, I'll Once I
Yeah,
get
let us know what
I'll
we
let you
need
guys
to do and because we obviously want to help everybody that we can help. I mean, if
Yeah.
the funds are available, we definitely want to help people out. So,
Yeah, because I know this is going to be something that's going to be fairly, it's going to move fairly quick. So once we get the info, we have to submit an application fairly quick to be able to get these funds.
okay, so you can let us know. That would be great.
Okay, I'd
Yeah.
like to move that we continue with our current modified services and procedures for up until the executive order ends, which is that date again, Tiffany? October 1st. It ends September 30th, right?
September 30th.
Okay, so September 30th. So we would look at reinstating all of our normal procedures starting if everything stays the same, starting October 1st.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, Director Garcia, second that. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried 4-1 absent. Discussion of vote on future agenda items.
Can I just say on that last agenda item, so that could drop off unless, Tiffany, you know that something else has changed, like we have a variant that causes us to do a shutdown again or whatever. So I think we can leave 13 off, or that agenda item off, unless there's a up until
the September regular planning meeting.
the September regular meeting. Yeah, that would make sense.
So the last one of the month, so that we can approve the shut off notices.
Okay.
Right, unless something else comes up.
So I think if there's no other future agenda items that we know of besides what we already have, we are going to, I would ask for a motion to adjourn, and then we're going to go into the next meeting. So everyone can stay on this call, but we're going to close this portion of the regular meeting.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Director Kelly has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned at 7:39 p.m. And at this time, we are welcome to the special meeting agenda for Thursday, June 24th, 2021. It's immediately following the regular planning meeting. We are called to order at 7:39 p.m. We need to do the Pledge of Allegiance again. Ready? Begin. The Pledge Allegiance
to the
flag of the United States of America,
United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Here.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelling.
Here.
Director Nyman's here. Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Okay, that's four here and one absent. We have a quorum. So Linda, if you'd like to go, or you can stay, you're welcome to stay. Everyone's welcome to stay. But the financial part is done. Okay, 2, discussion vote, adjust agenda if necessary. I think everything could stay as it is. And so 3, are there any public comments? Okay, hearing none at this time. Okay, 4, discussion vote on water conservation plan.
Okay, so what happened is that there was an ad hoc formed, which is Terry and myself, and Terry Kelling, Director Kelling and myself, and we went back over the water conservation plan in light of what's going on right now with our nitrates and water shortage and the drought. And we participated in that with our general manager and Tiffany as well. And so we went back through our water conservation plan was originally adopted February 20th, 2014. There were some deficiencies in it, so we went back through and changed some items. But the biggest item that got changed, and then there's an item that needs to be added to the one that you have in front of you. But the biggest item that got changed was first of all under I have to compare it to, let's see, I have like 3 of these, but let's see. So under sorry, the page has changed. So under plan provisions, which is now on page 9. So the page numbers changed a little bit. Thank you, Tiffany. She did some really hard work to get that all fixed up because it got a little goofy. But under page 9 at the bottom of the page where it says plan provisions. So we didn't really have a provision. It said that we appointed a staff member to oversee this, but we didn't have a provision for our general manager to be able to oversee the conservation program and change the conservation levels, or in consultation with the ad hoc or change the conservation plan. So we rewrote that. So it now says the Fraser Park PUD board has appointed its general manager to oversee the conservation efforts and to be responsible for implementation of conservation programs, monitoring of water use, implementation of conservation level changes, and in consultation with a board ad hoc, the general manager will revise the conservation plan when needed. After any revision, the general manager will place the revised conservation plan on the next board agenda for adoption, which is what has happened for this agenda. So that's a change to allow Johnny to be able to not have to come to the board every time there's an emergency and get an okay to change to the emergency levels. So another big critical change, I mean, there was a lot of typo changes and little things, but another big critical change is that we went, originally there were 3 stages of conservation. I'm just going to read those. So there was stage 1, the warning stage, stage 2, the alert stage, which is what we're currently in now. And then stage 3, the emergency stage, went immediately to some somewhat draconian, which you obviously need in a full-on emergency, some draconian measures like water rationing. We implemented a stage in between, so it's still an emergency stage, which we're going to ask you to vote on this evening, but it changed it to stage 3A and stage 3B. So the stage 3A, even though it implements emergency procedures, it's not quite as draconian as stage 3B, which is full on. We can't help it. You don't get to water outside anymore. We need to make rationing plans. We need to set guidelines for that, levels, benchmarks for that, as it's called, and a lot of things like that. So the big changes, I think, there were no real changes to the warning stage, although that's something that we need to talk about if we adopt this, that at some prior point, and I think this may be a separate agenda item, but at some prior point we had adopted 2 days a week watering instead of 3. Currently, it never got inserted into the conservation plan itself. So that motion would be basically would be broken by us adopting this. This one goes back on the warning stage to 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for the odd numbered addresses, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday for the even number addresses. We're currently not on this warning stage, but if we were in a warning stage, it would be voluntary enforcement, and it would be, no watering between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. So it would just be 3 days a week again, as originally planned, other than 2. In the alert stage, which is where we're currently at, the changes are that it's no longer voluntary measures, it's mandatory measures. We did change so for the first violation, it's a written warning. Second violation, $100. That's the same as before. Third violation, turn off of your water services. But we took out the $100 on the reconnection fee because that reconnection fee has changed by law. It's less than that. So we just left it. We didn't put a amount. It changes, but that is on all of our schedules. And then the other changes were that actually, like that stayed exactly the same. It's just mandatory, so it would be exactly the same as the warning stage, but now there would be a violation if you so first you'd be warned, then in writing, verbal warning, then a written warning, and then implementation of a fine. So for stages 3A and 3B, 3A is completely new. So stage 3A, the emergency stage, first thing, Fraser Park PUD would declare a drought and water shortage emergency and use media relations to supplement efforts to keep customers informed. Number 2, FPPUD would inform customers of prohibited water uses, which would be non-essential water uses listed in stage 1 are now prohibited. So they're no longer, you can no longer just water with it's anything that was non-essential where you had certain provisions would now be prohibited, other than the watering a landscape. So Fraser Park PUD would enforce 2-day per week outside watering of landscaping for a maximum of 20 minutes 2 times per day. Use of water for outside plants, lawn, landscape, and turf areas on an odd even program. Odd number addresses Tuesday and Saturday, even number addresses Wednesday and Sunday. Watering of plants, lawn, landscape are prohibited between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. and no watering at all on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Number 4, Fraser Park PUD would inform customers of penalties if prohibited measures are not observed. So again, there would be a warning. All of these have the same thing: a warning stage, a fine, and then possible. Someone mute, please. Possible inspection. Someone's needs to mute. Of their possible disconnection of their services and a reconnection fee. So, and then number 5 would be that we would limit the use of fire hydrants to fire protection uses only. The other stages have some possibilities for, dust and stuff like that, but it would be only for fire protection. And 6, the PUD would seek monetary assistance in an effort to mitigate the drought, which means looking for some federal funding. So that would be stage 3A, and then stage 3B would be the more draconian one that we had before, which is that the PUD would declare a drought water emergency, again, use the media to inform customers. And also we had talked about, and I don't know if it specifically says it in here, but we talked about making sure that we sent out a flyer or a card that lists exactly, what stage we're in and exactly what it means to all of our customers. So anyway, this one would do the same thing as 3A on 1. On 2, we would add rationing benchmarks for each customer class. And that's listed below, which I'll read in a minute. Number 3, we'd inform customers of the prohibited water uses. So that's where we send out those that paperwork saying what's what. And it's really hard for me. I'm really tired. Whoever hasn't muted, could you mute? Fraser Park PUD would also prohibit all outside watering of landscaping using potable water. We would allow gray water usage. And then 5, the PUD would inform customers of penalties if prohibited measures are not observed. Again, it's a warning. And then all the other things, same as all the other stages. Number 7, we'd inform customers of any additional rationing water penalties if there were such. And then number 8, we'd limit the use of fire hydrants to fire protection only. And 9, we'd seek again monetary assistance to mitigate the drought through federal funding. So the rationing benchmark we would start at would be set at 55 gallons per person per day, and would be adjusted based on water supply availability and demand. That's as suggested by the state currently. I think it goes down from there to 50 and then, goes further if we don't have enough water. This amounts to approximately 120 cubic feet per person per month on customers' billing statements. So per person in your household, that would be the approximate. So right now an average is, I think, 400 or 600, Johnny, a month, cubic feet. I don't remember what the average is, but anyway, it would go down to 120 per person. So for a 2-person family, it would be 240 for, and it would go from there. So the other thing that's not on here that Johnny brought to my attention and that we need to add, but I asked Tiffany if she would add it during the meeting if we approve this, would be that we need some wording that let me go to my email. I have so many emails. I need to find this. Okay, here it is. So we would need to put in some sort of provision in the emergency when we make a change to the emergency stage, where it states that customers can ask for a waiver. So what we were concerned about would be putting businesses out of business, and we would need to look at that on a case-by-case basis. So we'd need to look at the ACE because they have a nursery, they water plants. We would need to look at the nursery. We would need to look at the car wash, and maybe there'd be a few others, I don't know. And there may be some residential customers also that would ask for a waiver. We put that the general manager, if he thinks it's merited, could issue a provisional. We haven't put this yet. We need to put that he could issue a provisional waiver until the next board meeting. And at that time, we would either agree on or deny the waiver. And we did talk to the attorney, and as long as this is done in a really fair manner where it's very equal as to the, to the waivers and that no one's getting really special, something that isn't warranted, favors or anything like that, that we should be able to do that so that we're not.
Basically that would apply to like the car wash that would go out of business and the nursery and ACE that has the nursery.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up with everything.
No problem. And so that needs to be added in here, and I'm not sure it would need to go under the emergency section. So we missed that.
I thought that's what down at the end of the whole paragraph thing was. The only thing that's not in there is
the only thing that's not in there is that Johnny could do a provisional. So at that where it does mention this under emergency, it says if any customer seeks a variance from the provisions of stage 3, then that customer shall notify Fraser Park PUD in writing, explaining in detail the reason for such a variation. Fraser Park PUD shall respond to each request. So Johnny was just asking that we do a provisional, put something in there, add to it that the general manager could provisionally, say okay, so that he didn't have to wait till the board meeting if it was something critical. And then we would vote at the board meeting whether that was acceptable or not.
Okay. Yeah, but I think that would have to go in that section.
Yeah, it would go right under this or right in that area. And then just the other thing that I didn't mention is that the offenses for violations would be additive. So if you were doing multiple violations, it says in the code that the penalties are in addition to the regular rate schedule change. So each one is its own separate water use restriction violation. And that's part of the code. That's not from us. So, and then it's a little confusing, but under each stage, so it's confusing under the voluntary one because it lists a violation, but under voluntary, it just lists that because that's what the code says, but there wouldn't actually be any fine. But you have to, we asked our attorney and the attorney said we still have to leave it in exactly as is because that's how the code is written. So, and then we fixed, the other thing that got fixed were all the rates on everything because those were the 2014 amounts. So all that got fixed. The sources of supply got fixed. Any typos that we caught got repaired. So that's where we're at with the water conservation plan. So that's kind of just in case you weren't able to read it all. That's where we're at, and we need to under 4, which we're at, vote on that. If we vote on it, what it does is it actually negates number 5, the discussion vote on changing the water conservation level, because Johnny, once we vote on 4, Johnny is allowed to to just change that. And I'm recommending that if we do vote on this and it's approved, that Johnny go ahead and change to emergency stage 3A and change the board in town, and that we start implementing the 3A changes by sending out. We wouldn't give anyone violations until everyone was notified, but we would need to send out the all the restrictions or the changes for that stage. And it would negate our item number 5.
I'll go ahead and move that we adopt a new
so it
water
would
conservation plan
it would
with
be
the changes
adopt,
that you read.
okay. The revised, yeah.
Yeah, the revised water conservation plan is just reviewed and in its entirety, and update it immediately.
Now I have one question because this is a little out of order. On item 6, we're supposed to take a look at the resolution that we originally passed to put this water conservation plan into place. I don't know if we need, before we actually vote on this, I think we might need to move forward. I forgot about that when we were asking about the adjusting the agenda. I think we need to put that first just to make sure that we're not making any.
Okay, well then make a motion to move it up.
Okay, so let me move before we vote on this, Director Garcia. I'd like to move that we move item 6 to the current discussion time, and then vote on item 4 directly after we examine item 6, because that's resolution 543, which was the original adoption of the water conservation plan.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that, but
Director Kelling has seconded that.
What
Roll
were you
call
gonna
it,
say?
roll call it,
no,
I
go
know
ahead.
what, roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson is absent, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Motion carried 4-0, 1 absent. Okay, Director Kelling, you were going to ask because you don't have a copy of the resolution.
So,
She's going to put it on the screen.
okay, all right.
That's what I knew you were thinking. I like being a mind reader.
Yeah.
So do we want to maybe just read through this and make sure that we don't have an issue? I think originally I voted no on this conservation plan because it did not entirely match the resolution. And so we just need to make sure that if there is something that isn't matching, that we fix it in the conservation plan. or vice versa, do a new resolution.
Okay. Where is it? Chapter.
Who wants to read it? Read it. Okay, our resolution number 543, RE adoption of water conservation plan. Whereas chapter 3.5, division 1 of the water code, commencing at water code section 375, authorizes public entity retail water providers to adopt and enforce a water conservation program to reduce the quantity of water used, and other provisions of law authorize local public agencies to implement water conservation programs and water shortage protocols. And whereas because of prolonged drought and possibly other factors, the district has experienced reduced yields from its wells, springs, and it is prudent to adopt a water conservation plan as herein prescribed to help ensure that adequate supplies are available in the future for the benefit of all the district's customers. And whereas this board held a notice hearing this date to consider this resolution and the water conservation plan herein prescribed. Now, therefore, this board of directors adopts the following. 1, each of the foregoing findings are true and correct. 2, the district is implementing a water conservation plan dated February 8th, 2014 to meet water conservation guidelines known as 20 by 2020 issued by the California Department of Water Resources. 3, the following water conservation plan is hereby adopted effective immediately until rescinded or modified. A, the staff at times members of this board shall hold information meetings and workshops with residents and customers to emphasize reduced water supplies being experienced by the district and the need for everyone to conserve water supplies. B, promote water conservation measures through education and acceptable principles and practices. C, staff shall meet with non-residential customers and develop conservation strategies and goals and periodically report back to this board on whether those goals are being met and whether these conservation methods are effective, and this board may subsequently modify this resolution concerning non-residential use if needed to encourage conservation. D, landscape irrigation is recommended to be limited between the hours of 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. E, in the Water Code Section 375 authorizes the enforcement of this water conservation plan. The following enforcement measures are adopted for any customers that fails to comply with the foregoing. Where'd you go? You moved it too much. You, fails from foregoing, the following remedies shall be imposed. I, first violation, a warning letter shall be sent under any of the 3 public notice stages listed in the water conservation plan. 2, second violation, a fine shall be added to the next month's billing depending on the public notice stage listed in the water conservation plan. 3, third violation, the water service is disconnected until compliance is achieved and a reconnection fee will be added to the next month's billing. 4, further violation in a year, in addition to the termination of water service, the installation of a restrictive device will be placed on the water service connection if so authorized by the board at the owner's expense. Okay, you can move it up now, please. Thank you. In addition, F, in addition, enforcement measures specified in 2E, the board reserves the right to seek enforcement and conviction of repeated violations of this resolution as a misdemeanor as provided at Water Code Section 377, seeking an injunction as authorized by Public Utilities Code Section 16472.5 and / or other remedies as provided by law. 4, within 10 days of adoption of this resolution, it shall be published in the Mountain Enterprise, a local newspaper of general circulation, and posted in at least 3 public places in the district. 5, the staff and officers are authorized and directed to do all things necessary and appropriate to carry out this resolution. All the foregoing being on the motion of Director Garcia, second by Director Bentley. Who is Director Bentley? It is hereby authorized by the following vote to wit. And then it was the vote, and
So there's two problems I see in this. One is the part that didn't match was the 9 to 9. It does not match what we've written. And the other part was, if you go scroll back up, Tiffany, it was at the beginning. It does say we can modify it, so I'm going to recommend that we modify this resolution. But
Okay.
the first part that didn't match was, I was trying not to interrupt you. Oh, so it was dated February 8th, 2014, but I think it's actually dated February 20th. Can you look at the bottom?
Yeah.
Because on our conservation plan, it's dated February 20th. Yeah, February 20th. So, so it's wrong there as well. So I had originally voted no on this because it didn't match. So I would recommend that we modify this resolution to read the 20th day of February, which is when it was actually voted on, and it's what is actually listed in the water conservation plan. And I would also modify the times that it lists there from 9 to 9, because that's not what it says in the conservation
So what are we
plan.
gonna modify that to? What does it say in the conservation
It
plan?
says no watering between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Okay, so yeah, so if you could make that correction, that's great.
So I would like to move that we ask Tiffany to modify those two sections and modify therefore the resolution, and then we revote right now and pass the modified version of this resolution.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Director Garcia is second that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Motion carried, 401 absent. Okay.
Okay, and there's one, let me just bring up one other thing before we have Director Garcia's motion. I forgot to say that we had also changed a couple other things. It's getting really dark in my house. I need to go turn on a light. We had changed, okay, so let me just read these other two things. I forgot all about it. So the other things that we changed, number 10 under the conservation measures, it talked about use of water for decorative fountains or the filling or topping off of decorative lakes or ponds. Exceptions are made for those decorative fountains, lakes, or ponds which utilize recycled water. We added any customers with lakes or ponds would be required to have water hauled in at their expense to fill and maintain levels. That was not in the original. And then, although that is something we've been enforcing. And then we also added under number 11, where it says use of water for the filling or refilling of swimming pools and jacuzzis. We added jacuzzis. Any customers with pools or jacuzzis would be required to have water hauled in at their expense to fill and maintain levels. And so that again was added, even though that is something that we've been informing people of before we added that.
Okay. All right, so back to 4, vote on the water conservation plan. Would you like to restate your motion, Director Garcia?
Yes, I would. I move that we adopt the revised water conservation plan.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Now can Lisa and I
I wouldn't second it. I would vote on it, but I don't think we should second it.
Well, how can we second
Sorry,
it?
a motorcycle was going by. I couldn't hear you, Lisa.
Well, how are you supposed to adopt it then?
Yeah, that's true. We don't have Becky.
You have to have you don't have a choice. You have to have.
I think it's okay. Yeah, then let's go ahead.
Okay, that's why I was like, I'll second that.
Okay, Director Kelling has seconded that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried, 401 absent. we adopted the new water conservation plan. Number 5, vote on changing the water conservation level.
So that's negated because we adopted this. What
Which-
happens when we adopted this is it allows our general manager to change the level as required. So I would recommend that he change it to emergency at this point.
Stage 3A.
Yes,
So is all the directors in agreement with that?
we don't need to vote on it though. He's allowed to.
Right, I know, but people have, I mean, you're
Yes.
making a recommendation, but the directors have to say they're in agreement with it.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm in agreement.
Okay, so that's all. So, Johnny, do your thing.
Yes, I will.
Okay, on to
Yay,
number
yay
7.
me.
Yay, yay you. 7.
And so we are going to make sure that we notify the paper, which is actually here. And she's saying, please send the resolution and the plan to her, which we'll do. And then we also are going to ask our general manager to send around either a flyer or a card or something that states that lists the different measures that were in our conservation plan, and then the requirements for warning level or for level 3A, emergency level 3A.
We will do it just as soon as practical.
Yeah, so they'll send, I don't think it'll be tonight.
No, and so, but I think you can change it over to emergency. We just wouldn't implement any kind of fine or anything until we've been able to educate the public.
Agreed.
Jerry, are you going to put this out on Facebook?
I hadn't thought about it, but I can.
You can work with
what do
Johnny.
you want, the
Why don't
whole
you work
water
with Johnny?
conservation plan or what?
Or no, or just maybe
The
this.
fact that we're going to the emergency stage.
Just the announcement that we'll figure out, and that's going to take till probably midweek of next week, but I'll
Right.
change the sign.
Right, so Jerry can work with Johnny on that.
Yeah. No
Okay.
problem.
Number 7.
And then just one more thing, I think we should also send this new revised plan to Jesse Dollywall as soon as possible.
Yes. Also,
And
Tiffany,
any other state, any other places that need it.
Tiffany, can you email Patrick tonight the 3A of the conservation plan that's been updated?
And Tiffany, don't forget to put in the section that we changed about what Johnny, that he can make a provisional change in the as requested by the businesses or by a resident.
Because she wants to put it on breaking news tomorrow. Was that a yes, Tiffany? Okay. Discussion vote on changing, wait, where am I at? Okay.
7.
On 7, discussion vote on taking video well 5.
Yeah, that we can't do that. Like I was saying earlier, the quote that you guys approved for the well, I called him to ask him about the video, adding that to the quote, and he stated that the only way the video would work is if we had 2 or 3 days after we pulled the well to send the video, and it would require pulling everything out of the well, where right now all we're doing is just adding pipe to lower it. So we're just he agrees to that it's not that important. Regardless of what it shows, we have to use the well until we get it replaced.
Okay. All right. 8, discuss. Yes, did you? Okay. 8, discussion vote on submitting emergency notice of exemption for well number 5. Okay. Do we have that here?
Talk to Lawrence about that?
Yes.
Okay, that's what this is.
Yeah, what Lawrence said is it doesn't affect whatsoever.
We lost you, Lisa.
Somebody's calling her.
Yeah, somebody's call got knocked off. It doesn't affect our current project because it's already in the funding agreement, almost stage. They already have kind of an understanding that it'll be funded. So it just affects well 5, but he wants us. Well, now got a speaker on, so I'm echoing.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. It's just a phone number.
Okay, so anyway, so it will affect possible reimbursement for what we spend on well 5 right now. And so we should, once we do this, we can submit that information to Lawrence, and he's going to try to work with us to see if we can get reimbursed for anything that happens with well 5 before we start the project to drill the new well.
Right. So yeah, we're submitting all any costs associated with lowering the bowls in well 5 at this point, in any piping for mixing and anything like that. So we're going to and the hauling of water. Now they said that probably the hauling of water would not be covered because it's after the fact, but we should submit it to Lawrence anyways and let the emergency people decide whether they will cover it or not. But in order for us to do this, we are going to file the notice of exemption.
And
So
there's a minor change on that.
okay.
Do you have it in front of you?
Yes, I do.
If you go down to exempt status where it says check 1,
Yeah.
and you have checked their statutory exemptions, just above it is categorical exemption. If you look in the box on the left of category, you can see a faint X.
Yeah.
I would just recommend that X be removed.
So you
Like just a little drop of whiteout or something to that effect.
Yes. You got that, Tiffany?
But the statutory exemption X stays in there. So
Right. Exactly. Okay. So I would entertain a motion that we approve this notice of exemption with that change.
I will move that we file this or submit this emergency notice of exemption for well 5.
You should just say the project title.
Okay. I move that we submit the Fraser Park FPPUD well 5 nitrate remediation water project.
Notice of exemption.
Water exemption, notice of exemption.
With the change mentioned.
With the, yes, with the change mentioned by Dave Warner.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Motion carried, 4-0-1, one abstention. Okay, 9, discussion vote on changing the well 7 project to an emergency status.
Just for a second, I think I've seen it. I've seen a chat.
What?
I think I've seen a chat question from Patrick asking if she could ask a question.
Yeah, and before that, when you just said how how it passed, you said an abstention. You meant an absence.
I mean absent, yes. Go ahead, Patrick, you have a question?
I have 2 questions. Firstly, the one that you just voted on, give me the title again. I wrote down nitrate mitigation measure, but I'm not sure that was.
Okay, no, the title is Fraser Park PUD Well 5 Emergency Nitrate Remediation Water Project.
Remediation. There we go.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, no, so then mediation water project. And then you went through a series of things rather quickly, some of which we have talked about and all of which I need to just list down here. You
Okay,
mentioned
I would let Johnny
later. That's fine.
or I'd let Johnny expound on that.
And which one was it? The blending?
Well, I guess basically what we're doing, I guess first with the lowering of the bowls.
Yeah, at the same time we're
Pumping
lowering the
level.
bowls. At the same time we're trying to lower the bowls, and the purpose of that is to lower the depth of the water where we pump from, because the nitrates should be coming from a shallow aquifer that's somehow getting into the well. So if we lower the bowls of the well deeper by 125 feet, the hope is that we're pulling from better water, and it will blend itself to where it's below the maximum contaminant level.
Oh, that's
At
brilliant. Can I just ask, you say
sure.
lower bowls, you're actually, that is the actual pump, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the actual pump that pushes it out of the ground.
Okay.
And then in conjunction with that, we're going to try to do a blending plan from another way, with blending water from well 6 into the tank at well 5, with like 20 gallons of water from well 6 and 80 gallons of water from well 5. And that also would help lower it. But all of that has to be, a plan has to be written up, submitted to the state, and then we have to, it's trial and error to see if it's going to work.
Okay, then you mentioned hauling water.
Mentioned what?
You also mentioned hauling water, authorizing the hauling of water should it be necessary. I think.
Oh, well, we actually hauled water over the last weekend to Elm Tank to keep us from running out. And we bought it from Lebec.
Thank you for saying that. I don't know if you noticed in the story, I was very wary of actually saying any specific actions because I didn't want to trigger anybody's buttons, you know. So that's good to know, though, that you actually went to that extreme. That's excellent.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to run out of water. See, right now we have a complication where if we have to issue a boil notice, that's going to complicate things. If we run out of water, we have to issue a boil notices. But with nitrates, if you boil the water, it increases the concentration of nitrates. So I'm doing everything I can to avoid having to have those two conflicting notices out there.
So that's brilliant. And but I wanted to ask then, because we were concerned specifically because of that conflation of issues and people's confusion in regard to boiling water, that has this district been able to keep it below the 11 level with these efforts that you took over the weekend, Johnny?
No, because we actually have not been able to do anything other than just keep people in water. We've done nothing to really remediate the problem. And that's the two things I said about lowering the bowls and the blending from well 6, because everything's got a 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 week lead time on getting supplies and getting a drilling rig here because of the drought. So we can't really do anything to lower the levels of nitrate, but it is important that everybody knows not to boil their water with nitrates.
Okay, so then even though you did have the water hauled, it didn't necessarily achieve the 80-20 or whatever the ratio needs to be to keep you below 10.
No, that wasn't even the intent at all. It was just to keep water in the tanks, and it was potable water that we bought from Lebec, so that it was clean water that came in, clean water. So, but yeah, there's been nothing to lower the levels, and even if it had, the state dictates that we couldn't use that as a way to get out of this situation until we come up with further plans.
Thank you for clarifying.
Can I clarify one more thing? The actual reality is that the nitrate contamination is really sorry, my dog's barking. The nitrate contamination is well 5. However, we
Maybe,
can't
mute.
guarantee that well 6, because they mix together at certain points. If we have to do some of this like blending and stuff, we can't absolutely say that that isn't going to be affected by the nitrates as well. But the actual,
Actually, that's not quite correct. That was correct initially, but now since we've had to pump well 5 water into well 6 pressure zone, now we effectively have the whole town is affected by which is why Jesse wanted me to post those notices.
okay, I'm wrong. Sorry.
Okay,
Johnny, do we have well 5 still offline?
We had it offline until Monday.
until the
Monday
notices
went-
went out. Till the notices went out, then we had to bring it back online. We brought it back
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, that correction is right. After the notices went out, we were able to turn it on and then catch back up on the tanks.
Okay.
Number 9, discussion vote on changing the well number 7 project to an emergency status.
So I believe that doesn't, that is
It's
not,
kind of a moot point.
it's a moot point because it's not going to help it's not going to make anything go any faster because we already are they've already more or less agreed on the funding for that project. So yeah, it's only going to help us with well 5.
Right. So number 10, discussion vote on price of purchasing bulk water to fill the tanks.
Yeah, we can't do anything with that. I tried to get a price for the water that we hauled from Lebec, but unfortunately, right after we got done purchasing water too, they had a malfunction at one of their wells. So they've been busy. So as soon as they get around to where they could invoice us, then we'll have a price for the bulk water.
Okay.
I just realized that was something else we had talked about adding to the water conservation plan, and we totally forgot about it. That our general manager be able to purchase bulk water and to go to a supply, find a source and purchase.
I think that's entirely separate from the water conservation plan though, because that's a water supply issue as well. But I think that would be totally separate.
Okay, well, I think that we should add that when we get to the agenda items, that we should add that back on the next agenda, but talk about.
Ultimately, I was checking into it. At any time that any water system is in that critical of a shortage, the general manager obviously has the right to purchase water to keep that from happening in conjunction with it. I mean, just like I did this time, I always notify people, but if I'm gonna run out of water and I need to hire somebody to haul water or generator or anything, I just got to do it as part of my job.
Okay. 11, discussion vote on purchase bulk drinking water.
The same
Johnny?
thing?
No,
It's basically what we just talked about.
There we go.
It isn't.
No,
it
it's
isn't.
totally different. My thought, and I already talked to you about it lightly, but anyway,
the pallets. Okay.
Anyway, with the fact that the nitrates mainly bother people with young children under 6 months old and pregnant women, I think it would be nice for us to purchase pallets of gallon-sized bottles of water. You can get like 288 gallons for the rough price is like $600. That's through Amazon, but I'm gonna check with Ace and Costco and Sam's Club and see where I can get the best deal. I personally feel like we ought to purchase at least a couple of those pallets or 3 or 4 of them pallets, and in the notice that we send out, state that we will give water to people that need it for mixing formula or for whatever that may be, but restricted only to the people that are at the most risk. And then I also want to buy a pallet of water, of bottles, to lower the price of what we're paying for the crew during the hot summer months, and just buy a pallet and store it in the lower shop instead of having to go to Dollar General all the time and buy it. And that's roughly $525. But I'm saying roughly because I don't know if that includes the CRV or if the CRV is going to be added to that after we purchase.
That's probably going to be added.
Plus tax.
Okay, I'd like to move that we allow our general manager to purchase 3 to 4 pallets, whatever he feels is appropriate, based on need or what he thinks the perceived need will be, for being able to give those out to residents who are affected specifically by the high nitrate levels, be pregnant women, women with or families with small children, etc. And also to allow him to purchase, which would save us some money, a pallet of the bottled water. So the first one would be the gallon size, and the second would be the smaller bottles for the crew to use during the summer.
Summer months. Okay, do I
I'll
hear it?
second that.
Okay, Director Kelling has seconded that. Roll call of directors, Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson is absent, Director Kelling,
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I, Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Motion carried 4-1 absent. So.
Can I say something else real quick on this matter?
Yeah. Go ahead, Johnny. I was just going to say. Okay, go ahead. Just go ahead, Johnny.
Thank you. Before I purchase it, I'm gonna reach out to Alan Dowd just to confirm that we can't get in trouble for limiting who we give it to and being, making it exclusive to one segment of our population. So if he says it's okay, then I'll purchase that.
Okay, Dave, what you have something to say?
Just in addition, self-help, Carlos might be able to look into it. We might be able to have some bottled water available but that's something that we could look into.
Okay.
But it's typically, Carlos can look into it and see if there is any funds available or bottled water available.
So I will wait to purchase anything until I hear back from that. So that's great. Thank you, Dave.
So Carlos, you'll follow up with Johnny on that, please.
Yeah, I will do.
Emergency services.
Yeah, and we have a place to store that water so it's not in the sun, correct, Johnny?
Yes, the lower shop.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, 12, discussion vote on revisiting the pipeline proposal from Tejon Ranch.
Okay, this came up in my mind simply because if you remember several years ago, we were offered to get a grant to help upgrade the size of the pipe that they're already planning on bringing from the aqueduct on their property to a new treatment plant behind the rest area. And then the rest of the grant would be to actually run a pipe all the way from Lebec to Fraser Park PUD. So in the event that we ever needed to purchase water, we would already have a connection. At the time, we didn't think it was a good idea. I'm thinking that it would at least be nice to reapproach Tejon and see if that is still an available option that we may be able to do. So if the drought continues and we run into the situation again, we're not just left with no other alternatives.
Oh, that's opening a can of worms.
Yeah,
so as I said, so is running out of water.
Yeah, I would say that it is something up for discussion because knowing that we are in a drought, of course, they have not gone forward with their treatment plant, that we do need to look into alternative sources of water in case there is a problem with our aquifer or there's a problem, for the future. That's all would be my opinion on that.
So at this stage, I would just ask that that I'd be able to reach out to Tejon and just ask them if we could get in, if they were still open to discussions about this. And then if they are at that time, it'll be another agenda item. And then obviously you guys will probably create an ad hoc to go to that meeting, and then we'll bring the information back to the board.
Yeah, I'll move that we again allow our general manager to approach Tejon and ask if that's still an option that exists for bringing water from the aquifer up here if needed.
I'll second that.
Okay, Director Garcia has seconded that. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia,
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. 4-0-1 absent. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just think it's exploratory, and I think it's good to explore any options just because of the fact that we're in a severe drought. I think it's prudent for us to just at least get some information. So,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
Made your vote. Because I cover the Tejon Castac Water District from time to time and attend those meetings, and they've taken pains at this point because they had completely overlapping board between the Tejon Castac Public Water District and the corporation. And you would be technically talking, when you were making your motion, you said to talk to Tejon Ranch. And my question is, are you talking with Tejon Ranch or are you talking with Tejon Castac Water District? Because of course, they're in a Sigma agreement situation. It is a very complicated at this point.
That's why I said it's opening a can of worms.
Right, and
it's wide.
Okay, I made the motion, but I'm not sure who we would be talking to because when we were originally approached, it was by Tejon and not the Tejon. I mean, it was kind of both, but the original approach was from Tejon in regard to the project that whatever that's called, the smaller
Tejon
of their
Ranch.
the Tejon Ranch
The Tejon Mountain
project.
Village.
Yeah, Tejon Mountain Village. So Tejon Mountain Village was the original, but yeah, I think in the long run, it would actually be Tejon Castac Water and not Tejon Ranch.
Okay, the other thing to recall is that they have an agreement, their EIR was based upon the notion that they're importing water from a water contract up in another region of California for that area, just to mention it. They do have something in regards to the aqueduct, but anyway, just I'm stepping back. I'm on mute again. I just say I don't want to report you guys saying, well, you did. You said Tejon. And I just wanted to just make sure I had a clarification to give you a chance.
So I think I probably need to rescind that motion and restate it.
Okay.
Because I think that is correct, because it really needs to be, it's just very, I'm very confused because it was very crossed before. So hopefully that's not now. So I guess we would be approaching Johnny, not the Tejon Ranch Corporation. We would be approaching the Tejon Castac Water District.
Got it. That's the only one I will talk to.
And so with that change, I'm going to restate the motion. So I'm going to restate the motion as we would approach the Tejon Castac Water District to find out if that option still is on the table, and just as an exploratory means, it doesn't mean we're going to move forward with it, just to see what that would entail and what costs might be, and whether it's even something that's viable for us.
Do I hear a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, Director Garcia, second. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. 4-0-1 absent. 1 absent. Okay.
Thank you for that correction, Patrick. You're absolutely correct.
Thank you, Patrick.
Discussion vote on future agenda items.
Okay, can I say one thing on this? We in our conversation with the state earlier, there's just way too much going on and it's my head swimming, but in our conversation earlier with the state, we missed some items with Lawrence, and one of those items had to do with, oh my gosh, now because now I think I forgot it and I'm having a brain fade. Shoot. One of them is in the state update minutes, and it has to do with talking to the state about how it would affect our timeline if we're able to, that there's issues with our timeline for the planning project, that we're going to run out of time before the project's finished, and what we can do about that, what extensions. So we need something like that on the agenda. And we also forgot to talk to Lawrence about
Are you saying that for the update meeting?
I guess it's best.
I think that something Carlos or Oscar should, because they do the agenda for the update meeting, that should be added.
No, I'm not saying just for the update meeting. I'm saying that should also be something that we're notified, that we're talking about in the regular meeting, along with all the other water items, all the other project items. So it would go under the I don't have the agenda in front of me because right now, because I'm trying to find it. So it would go, Tiffany, under the agenda item for the planning project as a letter. Timeline extension, something like that. Oh, her mic doesn't work, right? So.
Right. Yeah, her mic does not work. So I'm sure she got it though. I have faith in her.
Okay. And then there was a second item, and now I just lost it because there's way too much going on. Yeah. It'll come to me, so I guess I'll try to update Tiffany to add that to the agenda and to the state, and we'll have to talk about adding it to the state update. But there was another question for Lawrence that we forgot to visit.
That item's already on the ad hoc agenda to talk to Lawrence about a timeline extension on the planning project.
Okay, yeah, we just need to add that to the regular meeting as well.
Patrick wanted to know if that's for the annexation.
Yes.
Thank you.
The other one I'll have to.
Wait, you can give it for later if it comes to mind. Okay, so at this point, I would entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I'll make that motion. I move we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Director Kelly has seconded it. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Gibson's absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman's and I. Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Okay, this meeting is adjourned at 8:44 p.m. Thank you, everybody,
Thank you, guys.
for all your attention, your hard work, and showing up and being present. And
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Everyone have
Thank
a good
you.
night.
Thank you,
Good
Palmer. Thank you, Lisa.
All
Good
right.
night.
Good
Yeah.
night.
It's good to see you guys again.
Good to
Thank
see you, Patrick.
Yeah.
you.
Night.
Good night.